مذ عرفت الله ربي حلوة 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 حياتي. مذ عرفت الله ربي أشرق النور بقلبي ملأ البشر حياتي. مذ أضاء الله دربي يا لسعدي وهنائي يا لفوزي وعلائي لا يطيب.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Once again, welcome all distinguished guests for being here today with us. And once again, we have members of parliament, senators who have come to join us, to show solidarity with us, to be with us. I would like to give a stage to Senator Bilo Okero to give a few words, if you don't mind, a minute or two, just to acknowledge your presence with us, inshallah.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum. You will forgive me, my voice, a bit of a cold. It's not, if it's not very clear. First, I want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity. Indeed, it is a very great occasion that today we have an international standard conference in Nairobi that is open to all the Muslims and non-Muslims to come and hear what actually Islam stands for. I want to thank the organizers, Journey of Faith, and our brothers who have been involved in organizing this very important conference. And in fact, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them, because this is a very important event coming at a time when this country or our country faces a serious challenge that many are raising questions that are targeted at Islam. So I think it's important, and it's really, we appreciate that it is an open meeting that all can come and hear, that there's nothing to hide, but it's important that also non-Muslims, as much as possible, in the next 2 days, come and share with us so that they can understand and appreciate what actually Islam stands for. From what the previous speaker said, there's a lot of information out there that gives a completely wrong information about Islam. In fact, he said that the information that is so and outside there, which is wrongful information, is much more than the true information. The second thing I think I want to say is that it's important also for this conference to give understanding to the Muslims particularly, and in particular the youth, about the need for coexistence between Muslims and non-Muslims. I think the message, the topic that had just been delivered, the message that comes out very clearly, that the Prophet ﷺ was sent to mankind, rahmatan lil alameen, was sent as a mercy to mankind, sends a clear message what coexistence means. If the Prophet was sent to mankind to be a mercy to the whole of mankind, then it really begs the question, why do some of our scholars, unfortunately, then give the perception, very negative perception about non-Muslims that we read about, that we see nowadays being profiled in the media, that you must kill non-Muslims, that you must do this, that you must. Yet the faith, the religion is very clear that the Prophet, none other than the Prophet, is being asked, and we're being told he is sent to the whole of mankind as a mercy. You cannot be asked to be merciful to people. At the same time, you can stand here as a preacher, and then our preachers stand up and sometimes say that, you cannot sit with these people, you must kill non-Muslims, you must do this. And it's clear that therefore, what you are hearing, what you see sometimes out there, is not what the true Islam stands for. And I think it's important that a meeting like this one can bring out clearly what coexistence means in Islam. And I think it's important for our youth in particular, because there are so many common issues that bind us, particularly the Muslims and the Christians, if you go and look at the basics of the faiths. And I think, therefore, it's important that also this meeting clears the thinkings that some of the stereotypes talk about. But the second thing that I also want to, the other thing that I want to conclude with very briefly, because is that this perception is widespread in the world today. The friction that you see between the West and Islam, that is based on fear-mongering, that is based on exaggeration, misinformation about Islam, that Islam is responsible for all these, wars that are there in the world. Islam is responsible for the terrorism. Islam is responsible for all the, evils. This perception is the one that is really being, taken around all over this world, the wrongful information that the scholar had talked about. And this is not what Islam is all about. And I want to draw the attention of our, particularly our non-Muslim, and I want to conclude with that, to an interesting book that I bought recently and read. The title of this book, and I'll tell you why I think it's important, particularly for non-Muslims, to read this book. The book is called A World Without Islam. And it talks about what if there was no Islam in this world. And the author of this book, and that is the interesting part, is the vice chairman, or was the vice chairman of the Central National Intelligence Council of the CIA, and is a senior political scientist with Rand Corporation. Those of you who know what Rand Corporation is. So he's not a simple, he's a non-Muslim. So he's not just an ordinary non-Muslim. He's a very senior guy in the US who has been in charge. And he says, what if there was no Islam? So all these clashes of the civilizations that we have had, all the holy wars, all this talk about terrorism, would it be there or would it not be there if there was no Islam? And it's interesting that he concludes, and he starts from the period before Christianity up to today, and goes at length to examine all these faiths, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and really concludes that, at the end of the day, that the friction between the West and Islam really is not all about religion. It's not at all about religion. It's about politics, it's about cultures, it's about interests, it's about other geopolitical, rivalries that are there. And he demonstrates. So I think it's important that, and I want to thank the organizers that we have this important, and I hope it's going to be an annual meeting, and it really would appreciate the focus, particularly since it talks about the life of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I think that would clearly means it talks about the life of a Muslim, what a Muslim should be, because that's what the Prophet was. And I think that would therefore bring out very clearly that this is in fact what Islam is, and what you read about is not what Islam. And Islam was not brought into this world by force. And I want to say this because of what some columnists wrote about today in the papers. Islam did not, as we were taught in school, in the history books, written by the West, it was not spread by the sword. Because the Quran itself is very clear, La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in faith. It's your choice. Those who want to take the Islam, this is the religion. Those who do not want, this is the religion. That option is given to everyone in black and white in the Quran. So I think it's wrong for some who think that really that we are trying to push things down the throat of others. I don't think that is the case. And I think it's important for our youth also to appreciate and to understand basically what Islam is and what it means to relate to others that we live with in society. I want to thank the members for giving me these few minutes, and jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum. And I want to, if you don't mind, we have two houses of parliament. In parliament, the Senate and the National Assembly, we have a majority leader in the National Assembly, Honorable Adan Barra Duale, and I would appreciate if you could also come and probably give a few minutes.